we go then, folks. Elland Road, do or die for Norwich City. A place at Wembley on the line for one of these teams tonight. A playoff semi-final second leg, all to play for. And we, of course, are here to bring you the team news as it drops in about 5 minutes or so. Connor Southwell. Paddy Davitt's back on the team news. He was back in the weekend, but he didn't quite make the team news video, which will let him off.
It's a lot better than me on this anyway.
There we go. Lots to get into. I mean, let's start with the fact that obviously there was no pre-match press conference. So,
sorry, no. Jeff Mann just put that one up there. Yeah, we're palpably excited about what might unfold.
You sound like one of those, when someone's trying to learn English and they play them sentences to help them use a word in a sentence. There you go, yeah. But no press conference, so we're going into this not necessarily blind, but without maybe the information or knowledge of what necessarily is to come. Ashley Barnes is here. He's been seen on the pitch. We're expecting Josh Sargent to be here as well. But what does that do for you from a team perspective?
It gives me a bit of a boost, if I'm honest, and should give Norwich fans a boost. Yeah, I mean, we may be proved badly wrong in the next 5 minutes, but both Sargent and Barnes are fit, available, and we'll start. We had a discussion with a Norwich official, didn't we, in the bowels of the media room, and potentially this could go 120. So in that scenario, are you really bringing Barnes on to affect the game, and then he might need to go to extra time? Hypothetically, probably not. So the fact he's here, he's available, he's been training from what we led to believe since the back end of last week. Yeah, I think we'd expect it to start. And, well, anybody who's watched Norwich at any point this season, when those two are together, they're a far better side at the top end of the pitch. Sargent just didn't look the same player without Barnes for me, and that was emphasised in the first leg at Carrow Road. That's not his game with his back to goal, trying to fight off Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu. Let Barnes do that. Let Sargent play off him. That will get Norwich up the pitch. They'll be far better in terms of pressing against the ball. And we saw how ropey Meslier was with the ball at his feet, the Leeds keeper. So, I think that's a massive boost, subject to the team news dropping and they're both in it, which we expect them to be.
Yeah, we've got about 3 minutes or so to the team news. I can see the messages flooding here. We've got Luke, who's watching from Malta. I saw someone watching from Switzerland. We're always intrigued to know which part of the world you are consuming us clowns as well. So do let us know. And as I said, when that team news does drop, we will bring it to you. What other changes from David Wagner's perspective do you think you'd make? I guess there's probably a debate to be had about the right side. We've seen John Rowe first start since January. I think everyone saw after half-time his fitness levels looked to have dropped off a cliff, and he got replaced on 60 minutes. Given what we've spoken about there with Sargent and Barnes, given what David Wagner said maybe about the lack of attacking options, Paul's watching. We're always grateful for people from the fine city as well, Paul. But given what David Wagner said about the thinness of the squad, particularly in attacking areas, will it surprise you if John Rowe ends up in that sort of finisher role this evening and maybe we see a different player on the right-hand side?
Yeah, I mean, I can see, the reality is if Barnes is coming back in, then one of Sainz, Sarah or Rowe drop out. So I don't see him disrupting Nunes and McLean. Go back to the game here in January. Nunes and McLean in that second half were very good. Norwich controlled the ball, pinned the Leeds back. Barker said after the game it was a very uncomfortable spell. And Nunes and McLean set the tone. That's why I wasn't surprised to see them in that holding two on Sunday. For me, they start again tonight. So of the three, with reference behind Sargent, for me, John Rowe, with those lack of game time that he's had, and in a scenario that could go long, and you might need to chase the game, perfect player to introduce for maybe a 45, 60-minute cameo, really, because we all know what he can do at any given moment. He's an instinctive off-the-cuff player, and it might need that at that stage of the game. So, famous last words again, but if I was to take a punt, I would say Barnes in, Rowe out, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree. And in terms of that, I don't know if it were me, I could probably see Gabby Sauer being pushed to the right, just because of what we're talking about with Ashley Barnes as well. A few more places. We've got Dell in New York. We've got David from Derry in Northern Ireland, the Dubai Canary. Always good to see him or them in there. And he or they are saying, I've already booked my flight and hotel for Wembley. Super confident that City can do this today. We, of course, want to hear your score predictions, your feelings as well heading into this game, and we'll flash them up, and obviously we'll give you our predictions towards the end. But I mean, we've got about a minute or so to the team news pad, but from a Leeds perspective, we know we're here. You can sense it in the ground. The music's been ramped up. Every seat in this place has a white scarf on it. There's probably a real expectancy from the home fans that their team are going to deliver today.
Yeah, what you would expect. So, I mean, Well, we all bought into as David said, it's 4 teams now with a 25% chance. That is true, but equally true is these finished 17 points clear in Norwich. And really,
good at home.
I've just had a look. Only Ipswich lost fewer games, and they only lost their second home game here in the final day against Southampton.
First game in April, I think.
Yeah. So first game in April. Yeah. So that tells you how strong they have been here. But we discussed it at length on the pod. It does feel that there's a sense of nervousness around this fan base, and maybe that set of quite inexperienced players, because they blew it. They should have been up automatically with Leicester. They stumbled into a full advantage, and now they've had to go again. And the psychology of that, when you feel you should have gone up, when you feel you're good enough to have already gone up, that's the fascinating element for me, particularly in the first 25 minutes tonight. Will this crowd be a help, or will there be a hindrance? And if Norwich can just stick in, Ewan talked about it. It's golden tonight.
Sorry, I have got the team news, and here it is. The Norwich City lineup with Gunn in goal, Stacey, Duffy, Gibson, and Yanulis as the back four, McLean and Nunez as the midfield two, Rowe and Sarah on either flank, with Ashley Barnes behind Josh Sargent. So Borja Sainz is the man who drops out. So just to read that to you again: Gunn in goal, Stacey, Duffy, Gibson, and Yanulis the back four, McLean and Nunez the midfield two, with a front four which is pretty mouthwatering, you have to say. Rowe, Sarah, Barnes and Sargent both start for Norwich City. The subs bench: George Long, Danny Bark, Ron Hanley, Callum Fisher, Sam McCallum, Jakob Sørensen, Borja Sainz, Christian Pashnet and Sydney Van Hooijdonk. So Barnes and Sargent make it for Norwich City, Pad, and Borja Sainz drops to the bench. How much do you think that is about the conversation that we have with maybe the right at the back of David Wagner's mind? So if this does go to extra time, they're going to need fresh legs. Borja Sainz and Christian Pashnet are players that can give you that.
True, and Sainz in the sense of Rowe is an instinctive off the cuff player. He stretches defences. If Norwich are in the game, or even if they're one behind and trying to chase it, then he is a player who can add a different dimension. Particularly if they're under the cosh a little bit, and Leeds, as you would expect, have more of the possession. Norwich will need to be very good in transition and very rapid, and he certainly offers that. I don't think necessarily for me, because we know how good he's been in spells, Sainz. I don't feel we've had that from him down the stretch. I don't know what your thoughts on it, but it hasn't felt like it's been the Borja Sainz of the goal he scored against Coventry, the one against Huddersfield.
I actually thought Sunday was one of his better performances.
I did, but prior to, I thought he'd tailed off a little bit. And that's understandable, maybe. It's a first season in England. It's the Championship. It's grueling. It's maybe taking its toll. So that interchangeability with Rowe and Sainz, I'm not unduly unconcerned to see that. And maybe a little bit like with Barnes, if you don't think Rowe can go long, get him in from the start, and hopefully he can affect the game from the start. And then you've got a player like Sainz who can come in and, as I say, whatever the situation dictates, but he can make things happen, and they might just need that at the back end of the game.
Yeah, that bench, let's talk about it again, because, from an attacking perspective, and we've spoken about the way this game could go, the fact that they could go the distance tonight. Sainz, Pashnet, Van Hooijdonk, they're really the only attacking options that Norwich have. It does look a little bit short there when you consider, I haven't seen the Leeds bench yet, but you can imagine some of the names that are on there.
Yeah, and also, it's great to see Rowe, it's great to see Barnes, it's great to see Sargent, but all three of those, let's be honest,
not going to be able to finish this game, most likely.
No, and there's question marks around their fitness. We saw Sargent drop to the turf 5 minutes from the end. He can't possibly be 100%.
It's horrendous, by the way.
Yeah, I know, yeah. What, Elland Road in general, or just,
yeah. I want to get out of here alive, favour.
No, yeah. Barnes, he's an experienced player and that should carry him through tonight, but he's not had a lot of football in the back end of the season. And John Rowe, it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago, David Wagner saying he couldn't last more than 45, 60. So 3 of your front 4 attacking players all have major question marks, but this is the last chance saloon, really. It's either tonight or it's not, isn't it? So you've got to take those gambles and hope they pay off. And if not, then that's where David will have to look. He'll have to look to Sainz, Pashnet and Van Hooijdonk to try and affect something. But it feels very much a knife-edge selection for me, that in terms of the forward players tonight.
Yeah, I also want a bit into maybe Norwich trying to get a relatively fast start in this game, partly because of what we've spoken about in terms of the fact that there are players in there whose levels are going to deteriorate pretty quickly. You're going to need them to produce something really pretty early on before we get into those stages where the tanks begin to empty and things get a little bit desperate. Although that being said, from a fatigue element, you tend to see that affect more sort of the defensive aspect of players' games rather than the creative aspects. But I mean, Norwich second half, more generally recently, have been probably less productive than they have in the first half. So whether that will play a part or not, I'll let you come back on that point. But I think we are in a position to bring you the Leeds team. So we will do that. Here is how they line up. It's Meslier in goal. Gray returns to his the right back position he's been playing. Rodon and Ampadu as the central defensive partnership. With Junior Firpo as the left back. Ruev and Kamara, the midfield two. And then we spoke about Norwich City's front four. How's this for a front four, Paddy? Nonto, Ruter, Somerville, and Joel Perot. Albeit Ruter and Perot have been struggling, I think, for a little bit of confidence and form of late.
Yeah, that looks to me like just the one change. Byram out and Perot in. So, yeah, listen, Somerville and Nonto, we know how good they are. We know how strong they are and how big a threat they are for Leeds. But I thought Jack Stacey in particular did very well on Somerville at the weekend, and will need to do so again tonight, because I just look at that lineup and you saw it in that first 30 minutes at Carrow Road that Norwich, I think in the centre of the park, can get on top of Gruev and Kamara. And if you can get a parity or better in that area of the pitch, we saw it here in January, Norwich can then release their front four players. So as much as, yeah, your eye is drawn to the two wide players, and obviously Ruter is a very intelligent, clever player in the 10, I think it's that middle two. Yeah. If McLean and Nunes can establish a little bit of an upper hand against Gruev and Kamara, you'd like to think Norwich will see a lot of the ball in terms of forward areas. And for me, we haven't talked about him too much tonight, but now it's been confirmed. I think we can all agree that Gabby Zara is far more effective in a slightly, might be left-hand side tonight, slightly right-hand side than the 10. He looked a little bit on the margins, I thought, on Sunday. Didn't really affect the game, and we all know his numbers tell you they're off the chart. You need to get him on the ball, get him in those dangerous areas, get him facing up the back four. And I think in these positions tonight, in terms of where he's likely to be, we should see a far more effective performance from Gabby Zara tonight, I think.
Yeah, I'll just bring you the Leeds bench. They've got Darlow, Connor Roberts, Cooper, Cresswell, Shackleton, Anthony, James, Gelhart, who of course scored that goal at the death here in the Premier League a few years ago, I believe, from memory, and Matteo Joseph as well, who there's been a real clamour in these parts to see start ahead of Perot and Ruter because of their form, and Daniel Farker has opted against that somewhat. I mean, what type of game are you expecting, Paddy? Because we saw at Carrow Road, very cagey, very nervy, two teams that, to be honest, look pretty happy to take this game back to Elland Road level, and particularly after Norwich's sort of start and bright start faded. You'd expect Leeds United just to play that 5-10 yards a little bit higher up, wouldn't you? And this crowd is going to expect and demand that of them tonight. Could that play into Norwich's hands?
That clearly is the factor, and I think it's going to dictate how Leeds approach this game. They cannot be as circumspect as they were. I mean, we touched on it on the pod. It felt like they were a little bit nervy, a little bit. Maybe the sense of the occasion got to them in that first 30 minutes, but then the game progressively tilted in terms of they had a lot more possession. But again, I don't remember Gunny having to pull too many, if any, saves out the bag.
You did Meslier, to be fair.
No, but you expect him to be far busier tonight, and that's because Leeds, as you rightly say, Connor, will try and be proactive, be on the front foot, have the same levels of possession, but carry a bit of an end threat, brought up by this crowd who are going to be, I'd imagine, a kick-off fever pitch. But, you know, it feels very like the Daniel Farker 18-19 meeting when Norwich came here. Honestly, the noise that greeted the teams when they came out that night, a very pivotal game in terms of promotion that season. And we all know how that played out. 2 for Vrancic, 1 for Pukki. Stunned them into silence. And you just hope with experience in this Norwich lineup tonight, from front to back, Gunn, Duffy, Gibson, McLean, Barnes, Sargent to a lesser extent, that they could just handle that atmosphere, that febrile atmosphere in the first 20, 25 minutes, come through that, grow into the game, and then let's see how this crowd react, because it can work for you, but it can work against you. And I've seen both sides here at these grounds. You know, the expectancy is Leeds will be at Wembley, Norwich won't. Let's see how they cope. If, as David said on Sunday, every second Norwich are in this game is a minute in Norwich's favour. That has to be the mantra tonight.
There is a Norwich player in that matchday squad today who has never, ever missed a penalty in his whole career. Do you know who that is?
There's a Norwich player who's never missed a penalty. So he's taken penalties, he's never missed one.
He's on the bench, I'll give you that.
He's on the bench.
Yeah. Finley Van Hooydonk.
Right, okay.
So, you know, there's something.
Sydney, Nick's already called it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Be all right, wouldn't it? Let's get into how you see this game going then, Paddy. Massive game. It could. I mean, I expected to come here, to be honest, and feel not nervous. That's probably too strong, but maybe a sense of trepidation. I feel oddly calm. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing at the moment, but how are you feeling ahead of this game? And crucially, how do you see it panning out?
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, I'm pretty relaxed about it, actually. Yeah, I don't know what that's founded on, really, but I've just felt a sense of, since the final whistle Sunday, we both felt that would be a draw, that first game, before the game, and proved to be. I just felt, well, we got, well, I think we'll be on the pitch of that.
I'll be on the pitch of that.
Yeah. It just, you just being in and around this Norwich group, albeit from a slight detachment, they just feel a calmness about it, you know, whether that's Wagner setting the tone, players and management who've been over the course and distance, they know what it takes. Particularly Wagner, because he was facing this exact situation with his Huddersfield team when they went to Sheffield Wednesday in the second leg of their semi and prevailed on penalties that night. For that reason, as I said on the pod, I think Norwich in extra time for me, and I'm going to stick. I'm sticking to that. You can't.
Okay, I'm going to map this out in the way that I mapped it out to you as well. I think if this gets done in the 90, I think it goes Leeds' way. I think, as you kind of say, I think if it goes beyond 90. I would then make Norwich favourites to do it because of this crowd, because of, you know, and someone's mentioned it, how young Leeds are. Be that extra time, be that penalties, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm really torn, to be honest. I think this could go anyway. I'm going to sit on the list, could go anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of my prediction. I'll go for a 2-0 Leeds in normal time. If it goes beyond that, I'll go for a 1-0 Norwich late in extra time.
How many results do you want, Connor?
Well, if you say both, then you can't lose, you see.
Right, okay, yeah.
There you go. And of course, you don't need us to tell you this, but the winner of this game will be playing at Wembley in the Championship playoff final. What, a week on Sunday, is that right? Later this month for a place in the Premier League. And they'll be playing either Southampton or West Brom. Whatever happens tonight, we'll have it covered at pinkham.com, the place to go. I'm on the live blog if you want to follow the action kick by kick. And yeah, irrespective of what happens, it's going to be quite interesting from here, Paddy Dowett, isn't it?
Yeah. We went into a rave now, Connor.
Yeah, I know, yeah. We've had all the genres, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, was it, did I imagine it? Was it today or yesterday? It was the anniversary of the Ipswich playoff win.
Today, yeah.
There you go. It's an omen.
If anyone wants to feel pumped up anymore, Sebastian Masson has posted quite the message on Instagram in Norwich's favour. I recommend going to watch that. So that's maybe the place we will leave it. From Elland Road, let's hope nothing happens on that side of the pitch because we can't see an awful lot, to be honest with you. But it's going to be an intriguing night. It may be a long night. Whether you're watching from behind your sofa here in Elland Road, anywhere else across the world, try and enjoy it. And let's hope that Norwich City can leave it all out there. Thanks for watching. See you soon.